Hello there guys and welcome back to the channel. Now another Balgrad season has finished and luckily Kabam has given us full announcement with the upcoming season nodes early in advance. I'm just kidding. It is surprising how bad they are at this at times, but even though Kabam has not let us know the nodes in advance, once the off-season starts, we can see them in the game without announcement. And I suspect the only thing that we're really missing is to see which new emote we're going to get. Because Battlegrounds rewards absolutely do not need to be updated. They are perfectly fine as they are. But we're going to mainly talk about the victory track in today's video. I'm going to make a Gladiator Circuit video a bit later, but I do plan on testing them and release kind of like full MVP lists towards end of the off season. First of all, let's get to Victory Track. Victory Track is bringing back a trend that we used to have in Battlegrounds that I hoped we have moved away from Battlegrounds, but it effectively empowers one class of champions specifically to a very significant degree, and in this case it's mutant class. So whenever a mutant attacker's parry stun is beautified, cleansed, or prevented due to ability accuracy, they instead inflict a stun passive for 3 seconds, unaffected by ability accuracy. If the attacker activates a special attack while the stun is active, pause it, and the attacker gains 300% attack rating for the duration of the special attack. That is a massive attack boost. That is effectively having your normal damage plus power shield active. So mutant class is going to be nuking everybody. Mutant class is going to be quite rough. One second, this is better. There you go. I changed colors during the video. I just need to change the brightness of it because I did have electricity shortage. Either way, so on top of that node, we have Palette Cleanser, which effectively gives the defender 2 cleanse charges whenever either champion fills a bar of power. That means there's going to be a lot of cleansing happening, and that also pretty much automatically means most of the science champions will be completely useless. But it also means that every mutant champion is going to have an easy access to that massive attack increase. Because if you parry with mutant, that any champion is going to cleanse it, like any mystic, tech, or whatever champion, and you're going to be able to nuke them down. Then we have Hurt Locker, which effectively forces you to alternate your special attacks, which is kind of fair enough. This is going to be a weird meta, because by default, all of the skill defenders are going to be kind of useless. Especially if opponent just drafts most of the random mutants. And then, as an extension of that, since this node heavily also targets science champions, which will mainly not work or work very poorly, mystic champions are going to be running around. But since it's mutant meta, you can expect a lot of tech champions. So we're going to have like mystic, mutant, techs kind of dominating. Some cosmics here and there for sure as well. And then very little science and very little skill champions, in my opinion. That said, obviously we will have Gladiator Circuit nodes. This is going to be the node for weeks 3 and 4, I suspect. And that will feature personal space regeneration, in addition to enhanced recovery. So there's going to be a lot of regening happening. As well as root or be rooted, because we all love root effects. So every 12 seconds, the attacker gets passively rooted for 5 seconds. If the attacker is far away from the defender, when this triggers, the defender gets passively rooted instead. The timer will only restart after the root has expired and it's paused during special attacks. In addition, you get special locked for 3 seconds whenever you get rooted. So that's also going to be quite an interesting meta. Definitely quite a lot of healing going on over there, without a doubt. And we're going to see how that shakes up after I do some testing. But first, we can kind of expect a bit more steady results for the victory track meta. So obviously, most of the mutants are going to be putting in a lot of work. So just to, just about anyone really that's half decent in mutant class is going to do well. But we need to name some of the favorites, and obviously we do have Onslaught. We have seen Onslaught and Power Shield, and it is filthy. And obviously Onslaught being dual purpose champion, super good. Then we're going to move on new champion Jean Grey. Very few people know how to fight her because of the reverse control. It's going to be nasty. I suspect she's going to be one of the most banned champions for people that do have her. We're going to have Havoc, who I think is going to work perfectly fine too. You're going to have that increase of your attack during specials, which will also work with your detonations, I suspect, which opponents will end up cleansing your plasmas, and it should be quite filthy. Not to mention he can be a half-decent defender. We all remember Deadpool X-Force when he initially got his buff with Power Shield. He just nuked everything down in level 1. I think we can expect something quite similar here. Dust, again, is going to be a great two-way champion, because for Dust especially, you know, the nodes will be helping her because your debuffs are going to get purified, and whenever that happens, you ramp up faster. So, you know, yay for Dust. And then when you're going to start spamming specials, it's going to be nasty. Then we have Dazzler, already insane special attack damage. OG Bishop, obviously there's going to be Gentle, and just in general, most of the half-decent mutant champions, be that like Iceman, or be that, I don't know, Domino, mutants are going to be crazy. That's about all there is to it. Then, because there's going to be a lot of mutants running around, people will try to use tech champions. I think Arnim Zola is going to have quite a big effect, because obviously he cannot be parried. So unlike many other tech champions, that some of the mutants would do quite well against, especially with increased attack. Against this guy, not so much, because he can't really be parried. So if he can't be parried, the mutants can't get their attack bonus. And then obviously we're going to have somebody like Shocker, who I think is going to do decently well offensively and defensively with his auto block and everything else. We're going to have Sentinel, who's going to be chunky. We're going to have Red Skull again. Then again, I wonder how that interaction is going to work. And without another champion I almost forgot to mention, I think Shuri is actually going to be quite decent, because again, she's one more champion that just cannot be parried, non-contacts. Moving on, one of the few science champions that should be able to work would be like Titanium, because she does get the Fury passive increases regardless whether her debuffs do or do not stick, and she should be able to inflict enough debuffs to get rid of the cleanse passives for the level 3 nuke. Then we should have Silk. Again, Silk inflicts so many debuffs that you can potentially outpace the amount of cleanse that is happening, but there's no question that her damage will be lesser than normal, because, you know, some of her physical vulnerabilities would get cleansed. Then we have Photon. Again, similar situation. You do ramp up just by inflicting the debuffs, regardless of whether they stick around or not. So that could potentially be quite helpful. But other than that, you know, obviously we're going to have to look at the Mystic nukes. Juggy is still going to be great. There's absolutely nothing stopping Juggernaut from nuking just about everybody. He doesn't rely on debuffs, and there's not going to be too many science champions hindering his way. We're going to have Shatra, another champion that doesn't really rely on debuffs. Should be working just fine. And then we're going to have America Chavez. Obviously, looking at the Cosmic class, we're still going to see our Serpents, and I believe we're going to see our Serpents. I doubt we're going to see much of Maestro. But definitely there will be the Serpes. There will be, especially with Serpent, because once you activate your special attack, he goes stun immune, and then the attack bonus also should disappear. So I do not expect mutants to be able to nuke him, and so you're gonna have to continuously be wary of the guy. I'm not entirely sure how well Thanos will do. I think Thanos should do just fine though, because you just need to activate your armor shatter before the first cleanse comes live, and then you should be able to deal with it. You're probably not going to be able to use it to bypass Evade and Miss, but for the most part I think he's still going to be just solid. And well, those are kind of the main Cosmic champions that we typically see. So needless to say, this is going to be a meta heavily favoring mutants, which makes me very sad as somebody who doesn't have Jean Grey, Gentle, or the dupe on Dazzler. So thank God it's only week 3 track in the first weeks of Gladiator Circuit. I do, after the initial glance, prefer the week 3 and 4 Gladiator Circuit meta, because that seems more generic and more like well-rounded, where you do not have this heavily push on having every single amazing champion from a specific class. But for the most part, those are my thoughts and opinions. I do, however, plan on making a video on the official announcement when Kabam does make it eventually, because, you know, we all want to know what kind of new emote we're gonna get in the upcoming season. See you soon, guys. Bye-bye.
Hello there guys and welcome back to the channel. So we have all the information about